Welcome, friends, in and of the true self. Thank you for your presence here. Thank you for listening. And today I want to talk about desire and spiritual awakening, and also what Patanjali in the Yogasutra, in yogic philosophy, says desire actually is. And what he says desire is, and again, it stems from perceiving ourselves actually not as our infinite true nature, our true self, but as this body mind. And what desire then is that you are going after pleasure, or going after what you perceive will bring you happiness. So the essential quest of everyone in this life of is this intrinsic surge actually for being happy. Everyone wants to be happy. There isn't any person on this globe that doesn't want to be happy. And the question then comes, where are we trying to find that happiness in? And desire is what we actually then think where we can derive this happiness from, this relative happiness. And it also, if you look at your life, it perpetuates actually creation. It perpetuates what happens to you in your life, all the desires you had, what you wanted to achieve, what you wanted to get, what you wanted, all these desires. And what you also know, and what is very important for spiritual awakening, is that it is always a relative happiness, and it is always a happiness that doesn't actually last. So you're hoping for, you're anticipating to receive a certain happiness from certain things. Like, for example, you work really hard to get a certain job, or you really wish for that partner, and always the hope, the intrinsic hope that you have, is actually not even about the achievement or getting this object or whatever it is, but if you're very honest, what you are actually hoping for is happiness, is having a life filled with happiness. And what comes with spiritual awakening is the maturity to see that, yes, all what you want when you receive it gives you relative happiness, but it is also always time bound, and it doesn't actually lead to lasting happiness. A happiness cannot be found in outside objects. It sounds so easy, and it sounds as if it's something that's actually clear to all of us, but there must be a real recognition, like a real realization. Wow, whatever I'm trying to use or find or receive or want to get to happiness, it doesn't actually lead to happiness. It doesn't actually give me that lasting happiness that I'm looking for. And what you are already looking for, that's why it's always relevant also to say, actually all searches, all seeking is already the seeking for the true self, is seeking for that which doesn't change, is seeking for that which eternally is seeking for that that isn't coming and going. It is seeking for also not something that gives you something, but something that you already are. And you already are happiness. You already are peace. You already are stillness. And the only thing that prevents you from also experiencing this level of contentment in your days and throughout whatever happens actually is what you have taken on to be yourself, is this idea of self that is actually based on thoughts, based on your stories, based on what you believe yourself to be at a moment of time. So it's always about uncovering actually your true nature. And that only happens as you start placing your attention away from the next experience, the next kind of thing, and placing it on awareness, starting to witness thoughts, starting to really get to know to yourself, your true self, your essence as awareness, and discriminating yourself against what appears. Now, in terms of desires, desires aren't bad. This is another big one that is often connected to ideas that don't need to be perpetuated. Desires perpetuate creation. There's always a desire for something, and that actually creates life. It creates your life path. It creates your next steps. It can also create a lot of excitement for people when they're striving, when they want to achieve something. So desires itself aren't bad. What is the problem is this thought that this desire will give you lasting happiness, that this desire will lead to something that is then the cause for your eternal happiness. The cause is for your eternal happiness is what is uncaused. It is already what you are. And so desires itself aren't bad. It is what we hope to get from them that is the problem, and how much we then grasp on them or look for the next experience, for example, to perpetuate and continue a certain form of happiness. So that's really important. Plus, if the desire or the object, for example, isn't there, like if your next partner or your next, I don't know, your next present or your next job, if you can subtract it from this wish to fulfill an inner lack or an inner wish to give you actually happiness, then you can enjoy that object without projecting this hope for happiness onto the objects. Then objects are actually freed up and they can be enjoyed as whatever happens to be. So Patanjali says that desire is this continuously going forward to its relative happiness. And it's one of the biggest things that comes out. And it on some level it needs to exhaust itself. You need to not just understand this mentally, but to really understand. I will not find happiness, or at least a lasting happiness, the happiness that I'm actually craving internally from objects. I will have to find out sincerely who I am, what I am. And what you find is really something that is awareness, for all of you that 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 have already glimpsed this level of yourself, it is that you find something that is really fulfilled, that is satisfied, that is content as it is, independent actually of what arises in one's mind or in as circumstances. And as this as this establishes itself, and as you remember yourself, it also comes more strongly to the foreground as an experience, as being incredibly content, not because of anything anymore, but because this is what you are. This is what you all already are, this happiness. And so this shift is substantial. This shift from the hope of finding happiness in the next relationship, the next job, the next paycheck, the next whatever it is, to the sincere inquiry into who you are, knowing that there you actually discover yourself being already happy, being already at peace, being already fulfilled, as it is. And so also the knowing the next moment, like if I don't find, or if I don't actually find what is already happy, at peace, and at rest right now, I will also not find that in the next moment, in the next instant. I have to look what is already here, and what in me is already happy, as it is. And so this is the sutta that is also then connected, like we saw, from this fundamental misperception of oneself, how the ego arises, the thought we are this mind body, and how then we only perceive, or seemingly perceive through our senses, and through this filter of perceiving ourselves as this body mind, and then seeking for this happiness outside of ourselves. So this is the sutra on desires. Thanks for listening, and have a beautiful day. Namaste.